Real talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Humans Talking podcast. I am your host, FRENO, joined by Brylon. What's up, man? How's life treating you?
Oh, it's been good. Staying busy. You know how it is. How about you?
Yeah, busy as well. Doing some things, working on a couple skits in the background for the channel. You recently told me that you had a long kickboxing class the other day, or was that today?
That was yesterday. Actually, it wasn't that long. It was just an hour. They're always an hour long.
Ah, okay. I was about to say, man,
Uh, I was bluffing. It was a good class, though.
getting worn out, getting them hamstrings, getting them legs, get that core
Yeah,
going.
I'm limp. I've been limping today. That's for sure. My calves are pretty hard, struggling
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, yesterday was leg day for me at the gym, so like when I bend or a certain way, I feel all all sore.
Yeah,
I'm like, I need to sit down.
yeah. That's yeah.
Well, we've had quite a few things happen this week. Um, I don't know if we should get into the big kahunas first or the smaller topics first, kind of ease people into it.
That's up to you, man. Dealer's choice.
Well, first things first, I want to we might as well just get into it. Kanye West.
Oh God.
This is what everybody's talking about right now, and ironically, this is exactly what he wants. I mean, we'll get into the whole spiel of things, but everyone talking about it. This is what he wants. He wants everyone talking. He wants to be the center of attention. Are you
Yeah.
up to date on the whole Infowars things with Alex Jones?
I am. I'm on Twitter, like I mentioned before, so I've seen quite a bit of it in parts and pieces, and man,
Yeah,
I feel real bad for his publicist,
I mean,
brand manager, or whatever.
I don't, because they, as their publicist or anyone who works with Kanye or knows Kanye at all in a professional manner, knows exactly how he is. This is not shocking. This is not new. The fact that these people are still in his circle is their own fault at this point. Like,
Yeah,
he's always been this way. And, he's not officially crazy because he's very well aware of the things he's doing, and he's doing them on purpose because he knows it gets attention. He's classic narcissist. He just wants everyone looking at him. But
yeah. I think he's. I mean, I'm not gonna diagnose him, but I believe he's bipolar. He had an album that was kind of about that.
yeah, bipolar
So
it does not equate to crazy though. That's two different.
that is true.
That's two different symptoms. You can be happy, sad, but you don't spout anti-Semitic shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if he was on the New York subway, people would just be like, oh, no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
move away, go to the next car.
So, to start things off, Alex Jones, he has the show Infowars. He's the entertaining, somewhat funny guy to watch because he's always screaming at the top of his lungs about all sorts of crazy conspiracies and troll and dogmen and all sorts of stuff. Recently got into trouble with the whole
Gay frogs.
yeah, gay frogs. I mean, any crazy conspiracy theory, aliens, he's on it. If you just want to sit back and listen to some mindless entertainment and not really take anything seriously, it's kind of funny to see him get worked up. He did get in trouble with the whole Sandy Hook thing. That again, he does do some things too far. Yeah, that was pretty bad. And he got sued for almost $1 billion he has to pay back to those families. But
No,
anyway,
he just declared bankruptcy today. So
yeah, I mean, it's
interesting timing.
That's how the wealthy work. Amber Heard did the same thing with Johnny Depp. Hey, I ain't gotta pay you now, bitch. But regardless, he's got the show Infowars. It's still running. It's still going. I mean, he's got to make money since he's apparently finna lose it all. Had an infamous episode the other day, interview with Kanye West.
And Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Nick Fuentes. I don't know who he is. Kanye stole the show.
Yeah, well, Kanye and Nick Fuentes are kind of like friends now. He's also very racist, very anti-Semitic, very misogynistic.
Yeah, birds of a feather.
Yeah, he's pretty. They're about on equal footing. Probably Minnick Fuentes has probably said even more disparaging things about other minorities as well, or groups of people. So
I'm a little shocked Alex Jones, which is weird. I'm shocked that he even allowed this episode to happen, to even have these two guys come on, because the entire time the interview's going, he, ironically enough, is being the sane one. Do you know
yeah, that
how?
was
Do you know
wild.
how insane? You know how bottom of the barrel you have to be when crazy ass Alex Jones is the only sane person in the room.
He's not the only sane one, but he's the only. He looks like the most reasonable person in the room, which is
that's bonkers, because he's usually the bananas one. He's the one usually going off the rails, and it's so interesting that the dynamic shift of that interview, because the entire time Alex Jones is trying to give Kanye the benefit of the doubt, and he's also trying to contain the chaos.
Yeah.
He's trying to rein it in.
Yeah, he was trying to give him an out to be like, you don't mean this, you mean this.
Yeah, he kept trying to pull him back in. He was trying to, which is so funny. It looks like he was trying to calm Kanye down, and I'm like, man, Alex, you're usually the most energetic person when it comes to interviewing, and you're trying to calm other people down, saying, hey, let's bring it in. But I mean, he's probably, still a little shaken up from the lawsuit of the whole Sandy Hook thing. So he's probably
he doesn't want to get sued again.
Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to be on my best behavior. I just got out of a big ass lawsuit that I lost and filed for bankruptcy now. So I'm trying to like behave somewhat. And first thing right out the gate, Kanye is just going off. Now, first things first, Kanye's always been a quote unquote trendsetter with his all sorts of fashion choices. Boy came out.
Yeah.
Dude came out in a black mask, like a robber's mask, and he had this black jacket on that looked like it was made from like a Sega Genesis. I mean, it looked like a NASCAR jacket with all the decals and the sponsors all over it. I'm like, what is this? It literally looked like a Sega Genesis with a bunch of stickers all over it. Came out looking crazy.
Yeah, he was looking like a Jack Ryan radio character almost.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was pretty wild. And oh my God, the things he said. I mean, everyone has heard him. I'm not gonna play any clips. I mean, we'll just kind of go over the highlights, because by this point, if you're listening to this podcast, you've already heard all the clips. You've seen them on Twitter. They're everywhere. It's just chaos. And he tried to what did he try to start off with? The leader of Israel. He tried to make fun of his name.
Netanyahu. Yeah. So he brought a yuzu bottle and a net. Very clever.
And he tried to do some sort of little skit. I couldn't really understand what he was saying when he was voice acting the bottle and the net. I couldn't really hear him. I just know he kept saying, Netanyahu. And I'm like, really? Is this supposed to be funny? I mean, the way he's screaming and the way he's presenting himself and doing all these things, to me, it's kind of sad, because it looks just like a grown man acting like a big ass baby. He literally is just throwing a tantrum because he is getting punished for the things he's saying. So he's tripling down, saying, okay, well, if you're going to punish me and take away my brand deals, I'm just going to go all in. I'm going to say whatever I want. And it's just like the biggest baby rage mad tantrum for an adult to do. And it's just really like, it's sad to see when adults do that. I'm like, really? You can't like act your age. You got to throw a tantrum and be all anti-Semitic. It's all over the place. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what his thought process is. It's disappointing, because man, he could have just shut his mouth and maybe addressed it in a different way. Maybe talk to some people, get educated. Maybe he wouldn't have ruined his reputation and career and all of that.
I mean, I don't even know if it's ruined to that extent, because when you become a celebrity of a certain status, you almost become too big to fail. I mean, look at Trump. He can say whatever he wants and he gets away scot-free. I mean, Kanye's just following suit. He has the mindset of I'm too big to fail. Like, even though brand deals drop me, I'm still, super popular and people still love me and people still follow me no matter what kind of crazy shit I do. So I'm just going to really go all in, which is toxic, but
I think one of the things he said in the interview was like, a lot of people want to say stuff like that, but they're afraid of getting canceled. And he's like, I'm the only person that can say this, tell the truth, and take a $2 billion hit or whatever and still have, $99 million or whatever the hell I don't know exactly what he said, the numbers wise.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm the only one that can do that. It's like, okay, man. I don't even know. And most of the stuff he says is just gibberish anyway. And it's like, I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
It's not gibberish. It's mostly just ignorant. I mean, because you also have to understand the company he keeps. He's getting a lot of information from, crazy right wing, racist, stereotypical people too. He's
grifters.
Yeah, he's getting his information from a lot of negative people, and they're using him to enforce their beliefs. So, some of the things he said was like, oh, Hitler invented the highways and he invented the microphone, but just not
Hitler.
Not true. Yeah. I mean, the microphone,
the Autobahn, not the microphone.
Yeah. The microphone was invented by Alexander Graham Bell. So that's,
And to be fair, he didn't even invent the Autobahn. He didn't invent any of that shit. Actually, someone else did. And maybe he got credit for it because it was under him, his leadership. But
and then he's saying 6 million Jews didn't die. He's like, that's not the accurate number.
Insane.
What's crazy is that all of this stuff with the Jews and the Nazis, that was still recent. Like, that happened. Like,
there are people that were alive
that are still alive now that were a part of that. Yeah, it's still a part of the this lifetime. It wasn't that far off that it happened, and to have someone pretty much bring in all this ignorance and like half truths, if even. He's like, oh, this isn't true, and it's like, where are you getting your information? Because it's not from history books. You're getting it from like the mouth of some drunken idiot somewhere, and you're just regurgitating what someone else told you. Because anybody who could do some simple research or look at a history book can tell you what happened. But I digress. That's a whole separate thing. Have you seen Dave Chappelle's second, I guess, hosting of SNL?
I watched a little bit of it. I'm not a fan of his anymore, as it is. But yeah, I did see that. Are you talking about Kanye?
Yeah.
It's funny because Kanye brought him up during the Alex Jones thing, and was like, he's not my friend, blah blah blah.
I'm glad Kanye said that, because I know for a fact if Dave Chappelle could speak about him right now, he'd be like, oh yeah, I was trying to give Kanye the benefit of the doubt. He needs some help, but now he's just gone way, way too far. I feel that's how Dave would respond now. It's just like, I was trying to be, cordial about it, because one of the initial issues Kanye brought up, I mean, and it's a controversial topic. Kanye was bringing up an issue he felt, and I guess that some people feel, about Jewish people in general, being in power. And when I say being in power, I mean like, owning banks or owning businesses or working in Hollywood. There's that whole spiel that some people believe, like, oh, there's like this underground cult of just like Jewish people run the world. And I'm like, all right, you're again with the half truths. They're not some secret underground cult. The Jewish people aren't like some fantasy race. Like, they're real people, just like you and I. Yeah. And yes, a lot of them own businesses and work in Hollywood. This is true. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. The way people are saying it, like Kanye, oh, Jews run the world, when people say blanketed statements like that, they're putting a negative intention behind it, like it's a bad thing, like we're secretly being mind controlled by Jewish people, which is not the case. Now, it's common that Jewish people are good with money. I mean, even in the Jewish religion, it mentions how to handle money. And from being someone who has been studying financial education, over the quarantine. Now that I understand how money works, it makes sense. Things that people do, not just Jewish people, but anybody who is just intelligent with money and how to build wealth. And when you do things like that to better your life and handle money, it opens doors for you so you can do more things like buy houses or buy companies or, just kind of work your way up. And a lot of Jewish people have done that. They just know how to handle money. That's not like, again, a bad thing that people are trying to make it seem like it's some evil cult thing. So it's like, okay, they learned how to manage money. They started working their way up, buying businesses. A lot of people in Hollywood are Jewish. A lot of people in companies are Jewish. That's not a bad thing. But the negative connotation people put behind it is kind of what bothers me. So it's like they're trying to create a problem that,
Yeah,
in my opinion, is not a problem.
I think, I mean, from the things that he says, it seems like he's blaming a lot. He's blaming the entire race of because he has issues with like in the fashion industry and in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you're mad at a very select group of people. You're mad at the leadership in the music industry and leadership in the fashion industry or whatever. You can be mad at those people for maybe not taking you seriously in this way, that way, or the other. But just because there's a common thread, and I'm sure there's not, like they were all Jewish people, or the specific people that slighted him might have been, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say that Jewish people control this and that, and they're doing this and that. You're mad at the record industry for, I don't know, doing whatever to you, or
yeah,
you're not.
And just putting the blame on Jewish people just because, like I said, a lot of people in these higher up positions just happen to be Jewish. Like that doesn't define, like, what happened to him. So it's really hateful when someone says that. I mean, like when Dave Chappelle made that joke whenever he was opening that second episode of SNL, he was just like, he's like, I've been to Hollywood and there are a lot of Jews, like a lot, and people were laughing. I mean, that's not like it's a bad thing, but it's just like, it's a fact. Like, I remember I was listening to an interview from Jamie Kennedy, and he had mentioned this book. I forgot the name of the book. Feel free to correct me down in the comments. But he mentioned this book that he read about how Hollywood got started. And literally, it was just a big open land and nothing was there. And like, it was like 3 or 5 Jewish guys came over and they're like, hey, we want to make movies. Like that's a kind of a new concept that no one's really doing. And they built one studio with a camera and then started filming stuff. And they built another studio and another studio. And literally a handful of Jewish guys created Hollywood. It was just empty land and they built it. So it's like, oh, well, Jews in Hollywood. It's like, well, they made it. It's just, they just started a business and it just kind of blew up into this big thing. Again, just because they're Jewish doesn't make it a bad thing. They're just people who just wanted to start a business. They happen to be Jewish. Yeah, but it's just, I just hate this negative connotation. Like, oh, Jews run everything. I'm like, okay, that's not, they don't own the world. It's just like, they just made a lot of smart decisions. I mean, anybody could do that. Anybody could learn how money works, start a business and go from there. Not all wealthy people are Jewish. It's insane. It's like people think like Jews have like this secret to money. And it's like, no, just anybody who wants to study finances can learn how money works. It's not just Jewish people, but it's a really misguided attempt because when you work like in an industry like that or, record labels or movies, you notice that all the people in charge just happen to be Jewish. And it's like, oh, well, that's a coincidence. And I'm like, not really. They're smart with money. They just happen to be Jewish. It's really not a thing. It's not like some secret takeover and we're going to have like a post-apocalypse of, I don't even know what people are afraid of. Like Jewish people owning businesses, being in power, running Hollywood, like
it's crazy.
Yeah. What is the ultimate fear because people are trying to make it seem like Jewish people running stuff is a bad thing.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, whoa, it's not, yeah. I don't know if I explained that well to everyone out there who's listening, but
we definitely, we don't know all the facts or, all the history we're just doing our best.
Yeah, because for me personally, I just follow successful people and who make smart business decisions because that kind of helps me mold my life on kind of what I should look out for and what I need to do. I don't really care what religion they are or what race they are. I'm just like, hey, what did this person do to become successful? And then you have other people who are like, hey, if you like take a step back, all these successful people, most of them are Jews. And I'm just like, okay, what does that have to do with anything? It,
Yeah.
they opened a
I
business,
mean,
it worked. I just want to get some ideas. I don't
there's a
care what.
lot of successful people in a lot of races. I mean, in Asia, like, or in the Philippines, there's a lot of Chinese that own a lot of businesses there. Same with here. They own a lot of Hollywood as well. I mean, it's I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah,
They're pretty big in the gaming industry as well. It's just like there's I don't know.
yeah, it's weird to single them out just because they're Jewish. I'm just like, can't they just be successful people? Like you're picking out one aspect of them and it's making it seem like it's a bad thing, which
Yeah,
is causing problems.
he has an issue with a select number of people and is blowing it, doing what a racist would do and applying that to everybody, which is, I don't know, disappointing and pretty. We'll see how it goes for him.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Very misguided.
I feel like it's not going to go anywhere. I mean, again, with the whole concept of being too big to fail, I really don't think anything is going to happen with this. He's going to, because he's doing this on purpose. He's doing it to get attention. This is going to be a big talking point for a while. And until he does something else, people are going to just move on. Because, I mean, it's not like he can get arrested for, being edgy.
Yeah, well, he was
yeah,
banned again from
yeah.
Twitter.
Because he got into it with Elon. I mean,
Yeah, that's real smart, Elon. You're literally complaining about people and the way Twitter's run, and now you're like unbanning all of these really negative and toxic people, and then you're very quickly going to realize why they were banned in the first place.
It's very stupid. Yeah, Elon's a whole separate stupid conversation. With his wannabe Tony Stark, he's not even close to Tony Stark. I'm sure he thinks he is, but it's like, nah. At least Tony Stark was smart. But
yeah,
it's just it's a lot, and man, I don't even know how to like put this, but yeah, being too big to fail. And it'll blow over, and because it's like a double-edged sword in this country here in America.
I don't know.
You can in this country you can say whatever you want pretty much without consequence. I mean, there's the consequence of like people hating you and losing brand deals and people not wanting to associate with you, but compared to other countries, you're not going to get thrown in jail and killed or whatever unless you have some fanatical person who just really wants to take you out. But yeah, and that's kind of one of the caveats of this country. You can say whatever you want. So there's a lot of good things, but you also have a lot of ignorant people spouting a lot of misinformation and just ignorance. And it's just like, well, that's kind of how we do things here. We just kind of let everybody run their mouth and whatever. And Kanye's definitely playing into that. He knows, he's like, well, I've already lost my brand deals. Y'all can't really do anything else to me. And it's just like, really, this is the hill you want to die on? I mean, I know he's trying to make some sort of a point about Jews and, running stuff, but first of all, it's not even important. Second of all, where does he think this is going to go? Like, what is his end goal? I constantly ask this about people, like with Elon Musk and Kanye. I'm like, what is your end goal? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I think he's actually, I mean, if you've listened to his music, he constantly refers to himself as like a god or unfallible.
Right.
I think he really just thinks like he's at that point where he has a higher purpose, a higher calling, and he thinks maybe this is the way he's going to do that. This is what he's meant to do, is talk through God or whatever, and get a message across, or whatever he thinks that is.
Yeah.
So I think he's past that now, and I think he's into the fanaticism of whatever he's believing, whatever Kool-Aid he drank. that's the new purpose.
Yeah.
Because he's already got a Grammy, he's got his record deal, he's like one of the most successful you know, people. So what else does he got to do? He's got to, push for something higher
Yeah.
because he believes he's better than everyone else.
And to reiterate, he is not crazy. He is very well aware of what he's doing, and he's doing it intentionally. He's doing it on purpose. And I feel like, him being a narcissist, he's not going to stop. Because like I said, when this whole debacle dies down and we move on to the next trend, I feel like that's going to be the time when he is just going to want to start up again. I mean, if people stop paying attention to him, he's just going to do something else, right? He just always wants to be, in the public eye. He wants the attention. That's just what narcissists do. They love the attention, even if it's bad. But again, I'm like, Kanye, where are you going with this, man? Like, okay, people are looking at you, people are talking about you, good or bad. Where is this going? Because if you have some sort of agenda against the Jewish people, like that's not going to work. Like no one's going to support you. No one's going to support Nazis. This isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. It'll be another case of like, oh, Kanye said something crazy again, or Trump said something crazy again. Oh, Elon did something stupid again. Like no one cares. It's like, all right, y'all are going to keep doing this. Either you can get on and try to make news about it, or you can just move on and, I don't know, play a video game or something. Move on with your life. You're like, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Now, the beef he got in with Elon, obviously he posted a picture of the Star of David, and in the center of the Star of David, he had a swastika, which obviously is a big no-no. It's just kind of
why would you do that?
Exactly. Well, he, again, on purpose, he wants to get a rise out of people. Elon hits him up. He gets him in the DMs. He's like, bro, what's up? Against TOS, terms of service. You can't be doing this. They have some back and forth in the private DMs, and Kanye's like, you know what? For whatever reason, I'm just going to screenshot this whole conversation and put this on blast. So he screenshot the DM conversation, made it public on Twitter, and then posted a picture of like Elon getting hosed. And Elon's like, all right, like I tried to work with you, like celebrity, but all right, you went, okay, whatever, you're banned or you're suspended. And Elon was really like, he's like, I tried working with him, and he wasn't having it. So now suspended doesn't mean like banned outright, does it? It just means like temporary, or is that like?
I think it was a temporary ban.
Which is stupid.
I mean, I don't.
It's like, totally do you think he's just going to calm down? You're going to let him come back, or does Elon see the potential? Like, hey, Kanye has a huge following, so if I allow him on my platform, I'm going to have a bunch of people using Twitter. I don't know. Again, these people that
I don't think you can have him on. Yeah, I don't think you can have him on there because if the goal is to have advertisers, which is where Twitter got most of its money, you're not going to get any advertisers by being like, oh, look, we brought Kanye West back.
Yeah. The biggest anti-Semite right now. Man, he just looks like such a big baby throwing a tantrum. That's all I see. When I see him ranting, I'm just like, man, you're just a big crybaby. Like whining about, someone told you no in whatever industry, some higher up said no to whatever, and you got mad and you're lashing out. And I'm like,
yeah, I really think his mom dying was just really traumatizing, and I think he's really just trying to find someone to help. Like, who else does he have? Like, his mom died, and Kim left him or whatever. So it's like, okay, who does he rely on? Does he have any family or?
He's got the church and other religious people in his life, but that wouldn't matter. Personally,
they're all there for money.
Yeah, I'm not going to use his mom as an excuse. Yeah, when she was alive, I would assume she could kind of rein him in from going off the deep end. Like, baby, you can't do that. That's too much. And he'd be like, all right, mama. But now that she's gone, like, no one's going to stop him. So he's like, I'm just going to just do whatever. Again, that's very childish. That's still him being a big baby. It's like, oh, my mom's not here. Well, I'm going to just act out. It's like, this isn't healthy, and this isn't helping anybody, bro. It's just, you're causing a lot of attention to yourself. But yeah, ultimately, it's worth nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
but it's wild. For the actual interview itself,
It was chaos.
it was just him shouting thing. It seems like he was being very reactionary. And again, this is how you can tell he's doing it on purpose. Every time Alex Jones would say something or try to bring the conversation kind of back down, kind of reel it in, Kanye would just like piggyback off that and just like double down, triple down, and he would just like intensify. So again, he's doing this on purpose, but every time he tried to bring it down, like, okay, we don't support Nazis, and he's like, oh, I do. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
He's purposely trying to say the most triggering thing possible to get the most rise out of people and to make the most headlines. And, to his to his end, that worked. It's in all the headlines. Everyone's talking. Of course, everyone's going to talk about this. A celebrity being an anti-Semite. This is exactly what he wants. We're literally talking about it on a podcast right now.
Yeah.
Couple of nobody dudes on the internet. It's like, this is what he wants. He just wants to be the big cheese.
We mostly talk about movies and
Yeah.
video games, and here we are talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got like a whole. It just literally every anti-Semitic thing you could think of, he said. And at one point he was trying to make somewhat of an argument, saying, "Hey, Christianity teaches us to love everybody, not just love some people. It doesn't teach love the Jews and hate Nazis. We got to love everybody." And to an extent, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see where you're going with the whole love everybody thing, but it just got completely overshadowed by, I love Nazis, I love Hitler, they did a bunch of good things, and it's like, okay, now you're overcorrecting. You're doing way too much. Like, this is beyond like God loves everybody. You're just purposely saying, nope, these guys are cool. And every time Alex Jones was like, hey, no, they're not, Kanye's like, yep, yeah, they are. I love them. And it's like, oh my God, this is. It's just, I mean, Fuentes is just kind of nodding, shaking his head, like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like this is it. It's just so much.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was a wild interview. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know where to go with it. When you have Alex Jones, who's like literally like rolling his eyes and like nervously laughing, that's when you know that it's
and sweating.
It's bad.
Because Alex Jones is like, he's like, I'm trying to like bring this interview like on a normal playing field, and Kanye's like, nope, Hitler, love him. And it's just like, and he says it because at one point Alex like, hey, he's like, I understand. He's like, I don't want to agree with Nazis. I don't like them. He's like, but I understand Kanye, you're trying to be shocking right now. And Kanye's like, nope, I'm not trying to be shocking. I'm dead serious. I love them. They're great. People need to stop dissing the Nazis. And it's just like, oh my goodness. All right, well, at no point is this going to go well for you. I mean, when you talk to any sane person, there should be no context where Hitler and Nazi should be in a positive conversation or seen in a positive light.
I feel like this is part of the reason why, it's not free speech on Twitter. It's because the thing about this sort of conversation is people are saying, oh, it's free speech. Let him say whatever. It's not going to hurt anything. But the reality is we saw already what happens when this type of speech proliferates throughout, a society. Like, I mean, do you think when Hitler was saying it already, 60s, I guess 70 years ago, almost 80 years ago, people were probably like, well, it's free speech, you can say whatever, and then look what happened. We already know where this type of rhetoric leads to. We saw it happen. This is history. So why do we feel the need to entertain this sort of rhetoric again when we already know what the result of people saying shit like this is?
Yeah.
It should just, it's not necessary.
And here's a big fear that some people have. And this is, of course, never going to happen, but this is worst case scenario, like apocalypse level stuff. Kanye has more followers than there are Jews in the world. Hypothetically, if he were somehow able to rally all of his followers to attack the Jews, they'd be done for. Now, obviously, that would never happen. People aren't that crazy. People aren't that stupid. But still, it's scary. It's scary to think about that. Hey, man, you have so much influence. You and you have so many more followers than there are Jews in the world. If a fraction of your followers were extremists and decided to go beat up Jewish people, that would still be very bad.
Yeah, and that's a real possibility.
Yes.
That's the issue right
Yeah,
now.
because Americans can be
Because
very racist.
he's using his platform for that very reason.
Yeah, just
which is why he was banned
yeah,
technically for inciting violence. If you're looking for the
yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anything happen yet. I've heard of a couple cases of some people like defacing Jewish memorials or gravestones, and with graffiti and whatnot. But luckily, I haven't heard any cases of a bunch of just rednecks just going around beating up Jewish people. Because I mean, obviously, we've had stuff like that with 9/11. People, beating up Muslims. We had it during Corona when they were just beating up, Asian people. There's just people are just racist and stupid. So hopefully, we don't see anything like that happen now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there'll be something because like you mentioned, he's very influential. A lot of people will give him a lot of grace and say, well, I mean, he made Graduation. That's my favorite album when I was in high school. It meant a lot, so I can't, go against whatever.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying that, and I'm gonna be honest. I have never heard Graduation.
I don't like it. I mean, he's a good musician, and a lot of the earlier stuff is good.
Yeah, he does make some good music. I wouldn't call him God. I wouldn't call him the goat. But I mean, yeah,
No.
some people are just fanatics.
Yeah, maybe when Yadolf comes out, that album.
Oh my God, that's not. Please don't tell me that's going to be a real thing.
No, well, I mean, he did Yeezus.
Yeah, please don't do it yet. I mean, I don't even think a record label would like approve that.
He could probably just put it out himself at this point.
Yeah, because they're like, we're not approving this name. We know exactly what you meant by this name. We're not approving this name. He's like, do it. It's like, no. It's like, fine, I'll do it myself. I'll start my own record label with blackjack and hookers. You know what? Forget the blackjack. Oh
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he had a couple of good albums, and he is very musically intelligent. But that's about where I feel like, in my opinion, it ends.
Did you see?
And it's a shame that he was wasting all of his musical talent on bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got like a bunch of expensive cars and expensive houses and insane stuff. With that level of wealth, you can literally buy anything.
I think I read about a study, or I heard about a study, not read, I did not read anything. I heard about a study where someone had studied billionaires, and there's like an actual something that happens to you when you make that much money where you actually lose the empathy gene, or like you essentially just lose the ability to empathize with other people because you have so much power and influence yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just found that really interesting because I feel like there's quite a few people, like right now it's ridiculous that we're so involved in the ridiculously stupid drama of billionaires with Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Kanye, and like these are the stupidest people on earth. And like we're all just like so much is like focused on them, media, money. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't have to be intelligent to be rich.
Clearly not, because none of those people really didn't do anything. You just need to know how to have money and invest in an idea.
I mean, even if they
none of those people did anything.
Yeah, you just need to understand how to market and how to talk to people, because you can pretty much lose your way. I mean, that's how we have so many crypto companies just like falling. FTX. Have all these billionaires all this money. And you're like, how did this happen? And you're like, well, it didn't really happen legitly, which is why it all fails. It's like they can market, they can talk the big talk, but they don't have a good product or anything like that, and they really don't understand how things work. But they were able to convince investors to invest into them, and now they're rich and have this big company. It's like
I don't think any of those people that I named, other than like Kanye, obviously wrote his own music, but like I don't think Jeffrey Bezos really created Amazon. He just invested in the idea, right? Same with Elon Musk. His father owned an emerald mine, and he just took the money and invested in Tesla. He
Yeah.
knows something, but I don't think he knows. Like they make it seem like he knows everything about everything, like Twitter does, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
he doesn't know.
All these people are glamorized. They're really kind of dumb if you like met them in real life. You're like, oh, you're actually not what I thought you'd be. And it's just like, yeah,
You just got
they
really lucky.
yeah, that's social media. They make it look glamorous. They make it look like they're geniuses, but really, no, they're just some guys who got lucky and talked to the right people and made some stuff happen. I mean, Jeff Bezos,
Yeah,
and when Amazon was started, like what was it back in the 80s, they just had books. It was like a giant library of just books that he would just send out to people. And
yeah,
then he stuck with it until, Amazon obviously now sells more than books. They sell all sorts of products.
everything.
Yeah, everything. But originally it was just books.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
I
wild.
don't know.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
know how we got here, but
Oh, it's easy. If you just want to do some research and backtrack, you can see how it happened. It's like, man, if you can convince people to invest in you, you can make some money. And then
yeah, I guess the
yeah, then it's just a matter of just maintaining it without, going negative or going bankrupt.
I wonder if it's like there's like a point in the timeline where it's like once Facebook and Instagram became a thing and short form social media became a thing, uh, everybody just became brands, right? Or at least that's how I see it. And then somehow, like the CEOs of those companies ended up becoming the brand for those places. Like
Right.
you don't think like it's not just Facebook, it's Mark Zuckerberg now, or it's not just Amazon, it's
Jeff Bezos.
yeah, there's always that guy behind the thing, and he's now become just as popular as the thing. And I'm just wondering if why that's because everyone else is worshiping brands and they find importance in that sort of thing and building themselves up personal brands, I guess. If that's why it's just like the conversation has just revolved around them because they're the biggest brands, biggest personal brands.
Yeah, they're at the top. Just completely disregard the board of directors or people who work under them that actually make them rich. It's like,
Yeah,
man, this
do
guy's a
the actual
genius.
job.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's like, man, this guy's a genius. He's a billionaire. It's like, I mean, he wouldn't really be here without everyone he hired under him to run the business for him. I mean, because that's the whole point. You start something and then you build it up to where you don't have to work anymore. But yeah, when you're at the top, you sort of become the brand, unless you don't make a lot of noise and you just have a good product and no one really knows who the CEO is. They're just like, no, I just buy this. I don't know, one particular thing. I never really thought about who the guy at the top is. I just like buying this one thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's an interesting cycle.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Well, I think I've had enough of Kanye.
Yeah, you and me both.
I mean, he's not going to go away. And just like, and then I think he also announced he's going to try to run for presidency in
Yeah,
2024.
he's not going to win that. I can tell you right now. Might as well save the money.
Well, you you can't use the Kanye strategy of walking away during interviews. You can't, especially during a presidential debate. You can't just walk off stage just because you don't like a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's again very childish and a man being a baby throwing a tantrum. He just storms off. It's like, bro, come on, you can't keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know if it was a lunch or a dinner. Trump was having with some other people, and I heard Kanye showed up and like asked Trump to be his running mate, and it like really pissed off and offended Trump. Like, what the fuck? Why would I be your running mate?
Yeah.
Like, you should be fucking running for me. Like, what the?
Yeah, he's like, I already did this.
Yeah,
I was a president already.
yeah, it's
I
like
don't
you.
need you.
Yeah, fuck you. I mean, when a narcissist meets a narcissist, it's like, can you imagine asking a narcissist, "Hey, can you go run under me?" It's like, I mean, under you, I'm the king. You run under me. How dare you ask me
Yeah.
that stupid shit? I'm God, not you. I was
Yeah.
president before.
Oh God. Yeah. That would be such a disaster if both of them were on a ballot together.
Trump would,
I can't
yeah,
imagine.
Trump would come on top because Trump doesn't storm off the stage. Kanye would just storm off and be like, "I'm not doing this here. The presidential debate needs to be at a place of my choosing."
Yeah.
That's not how that works, man. Again, he's just saying this to get attention. I'm sure this will all fucking blow over. No one's gonna give a shit.
Yep.
Well, with all the negativity out the way, do you got something positive you want to kind of insert into this podcast? Kind of give everyone a palate cleanser.
I don't have any other. I don't have any topics off the top of my head. I feel like that was the biggest one.
That was the biggest for the week, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything.
I did hear that I'm switching over to Marvel now just because obviously that's something I enjoy, something you enjoy. I heard the movie The Marvels. That's going to be the second Captain Marvel movie, I believe, and it's going to have Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and what's her name, homegirl from Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a trio of women being superheroes or whatever. I heard, and because I think Marvel actually tweeted this out, they said Blue Marvel is going to be in that movie. And I was like, holy shit. But I'm also really upset too.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who that is.
Blue Marvel is the strongest superhero in the entirety of Marvel Comics. He is a black guy who has like this blue and white costume that he flies around in. He was invented in 2008, and his story was really unique. I mean, I don't know if you want the spark notes or just the fact that he's a cool black superhero.
Give it to me. Either way.
Okay.
You make it short and sweet.
So his name's Adam Brashear. He was essentially a genius. He went to college, played football. He was the best player. He got his PhD in like electronics and physics. And, somewhere along the line, the government like recognized how smart he was and like, hey, can you create a device that like can like tap into antimatter or whatever? Fantastic for all that shit. They always want to tap into antimatter and whatnot. So it's, it's like an unlimited source of energy. He creates this device to tap into antimatter. And of course, something goes wrong. The device explodes. And he has this white guy. I forget his name. It's like, I guess his best friend from football as well, who's also kind of smart, but not really. There's a big explosion. Adam Brashear gets hit with all the positive antimatter energy, and his friend gets hit with all the negative antimatter energy, and that's what gives them powers. And they're both like super broken, speed, strength, reality warping, energy blasts. They're like beyond Superman with a bunch of like psychic powers. And on top of that, he's insanely intelligent, like almost to Reed Richards levels. And he's just super broke. Like every superpowered being he's gone against, he's pretty much one shot. Like this guy is super OP. And the whole thing with the comic, because it was a Tony Stark comic when it kind of came out, because Tony Stark was following this lead through S.H.I.E.L.D. about there was some threat coming, or the antimatter guy. I think his name was, I'm really gonna mess this up. I think his name was Negative Man, something like that. He showed up and he just beat the shit out of all the superheroes, and then he just disappeared. And they're like, who was that? And it led Tony Stark to go down this rabbit hole of trying to figure out who this guy was. He's like, this superpowered being just kind of came out of nowhere with all this antimatter energy. He beat us up. He can't be stopped. He just vanished. But when he comes back, he's going to beat us up again. This whole story arc goes, and it's like this big government conspiracy cover-up that leads to Adam Brashear. And what Tony Stark finds out is there was a black superhero back in the 50s. But at the time, they didn't know he was black. It was just a superpowered guy going around saving the day. Everyone loved him. And then one day he just disappeared. So he's like, what happened? And it's a really amazing story. But what ended up happening was because Adam Bashir was the only guy to stop that negative man because he was so strong. When he finally beat him in the 50s, during the battle, a piece of Adam Bashir's mask got torn off. And because this is the 50s, everyone saw that, oh my God, the guy we love that was saving us is a black guy. And it freaked people out. So I think Kennedy, JFK was the president at the time, and they're like, hey, they called him into the White House, like, hey, can you like step down? And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, because people know that you're a black guy and it's going to cause a race war. So the white people are afraid of you now because they think that you're going to rally all the black people to rise up against them. And the black people are afraid of you because they think that, oh, you're working with the white guy. You're not going to help us start a race war, and rise up. So they're like, both parties are not going to accept you because they're going to want to use you. So JFK was like, I need you to step down and just, we'll give you like the Medal of Honor for your efforts, but no, you got to go away because this is going to be a problem. And Adam Bashir, being the smartest person, alive, the strongest, nobody can stop him. He decided to, go ahead and step down. And he was pissed. He went to the moon where Uatu the Watcher was, and he threw the Medal of Honor out into space. He was so fucking pissed. He's like, this is bullshit. I don't care about being black or race wars. I just want to protect people. And Uatu the Watcher was like, yeah, the people of Earth are just really ignorant right now. They don't care about all the stuff you've done. They just see a black man and they're afraid. So essentially the government had to redact all these documents and put him into hiding, and he had to change his name and whatnot. And when Tony Stark found out about this, he was just like, oh my God, what the hell? He's like, what is wrong with y'all? How could y'all let this happen? And they kept telling Tony Stark, bro, it was the 50s. Everyone was super racist. No one was going to accept him now that they figured out who he was. So Tony Stark has to find him and get him to come back and be a superhero again now that times are changed and everyone's not racist anymore. But Adam Bashir at this point is just like, fuck y'all, no. Now that I've been retired, the Avengers and all these other X-Men superheroes run around, y'all don't need me, fuck this. And it's like, yeah, well, this one villain showed up and you're the only one who can beat him. And that's kind of how they write him into existence. But it was such a cool concept that honestly, one of the first superheroes to ever exist was a black guy, and he was super OP and broken, and he was super intelligent. And you're just like, how come we haven't heard of him? And that's how they wrote him. It's like, oh, the government asked him to step down because it was 50s and everybody was racist. When they found out he was black, it was a thing, and it was a stupid thing, but it's like, yeah, we need you to go away.
That's cool. Well, no, I haven't heard that story. I'm really curious to see how they're going to do that.
Man, I forget the name of the story, but if you look up Adam Bashir, when he first arrived, if you read that comic, you'll be like, this is fucking amazing. This is so cool how they introduced this character, and he's just so cool. And now that he's a regular hero now, everything he's done has just been insanely broken. He's so incredibly strong, nothing can kill him. He's so OP. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So they announced that he's going to be in the Marvels movie, and which is cool. The first black superhero that nobody knew about. I just don't know how they're going to write him in, because I don't know if they're going to want to explain that whole story I just gave to you, because obviously the Marvels are in the current times right now in the 2000s, and he started out in the 50s, but because of the antimatter energy, he ages super slow, so he still looks decent. He doesn't look old. Yeah, I don't know. And since it's going to be the female heavy protagonist, of the three girls, there's not really going to be much room for him unless he's a side character, which wouldn't really make sense. That's kind of why I'm getting upset. I'm like, he's super broken OP. He deserves a movie of his own. If y'all introduce him in the Marvels, what is he going to be, a housewife or something? Because it's, the movie isn't about him, but
maybe they'll do a thing where they spin him off into his own.
Yeah, hopefully. And honestly, because this is the cinematic universe, it's going to upset me that they're going to nerf him. They're everyone is super depowered in the cinematic universe. They're nowhere near as strong as they are in the comics. So if I see him get punched one time and he says, ow, I'm going to get pissed. I'm like, that should not hurt you. Nothing. You are so incredibly powerful. You should not struggle or strain or get hurt by anything.
Well, but it's not exciting.
Well, I'm saying that's how he's written. That's how he's written. He's just Shuma Gorath showed up in the comics, one of the mini angled ones, and he literally one shot him. Blue Marvel one shot Shumagorath. That's insane. I mean, it wasn't like the 100% Shumagorath, because obviously when Shumagorath shows up on Earth, it's just like an aspect. It's just like an avatar of him, because obviously his real form is not even in this universe. But still, the fact that he was able to one shot an elder god, an eldritch being that can control the minds of everyone. That's
Yeah,
Can you imagine
that,
one shot in Cthulhu? Like how is that possible?
that seems like a lot to put into one movie. I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll either spin off into like a separate movie, or maybe he's the bad guy. I don't know.
Nah, he's
I
not
don't
the
know
bad
what
guy.
they would do.
I hope they mention him, but I hope they don't like give him like screen time and whatnot. Because I'm like, that's gonna be too much. He would steal the show if he was written correctly. Because he's way more interesting than any of those other girls. You know, it's not just because he's a man. It's just because his character is just literally more provocative, more interesting, and has like a deeper history. Even though he's a new character that was made in 2008, it's just he's so cool. I was like, oh, y'all like wrote the perfect superhero story. I've never heard of a story like that. Like, oh, did he come out of retirement? It's like, well, no. It's like, well, how? Why isn't he old? It's like because he ages like Superman. He ages really slow. He's so strong because of the antimatter. Oh,
Well, I'm excited to see that movie. I thought it was weird that they included all of those characters at once anyway, like in one movie. Um, so yeah, that just makes me more excited.
I
I
mean,
really think
yeah,
that the new phase is going to like people have been saying that the quality of this last phase wasn't very good.
it wasn't.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of like they took that time to expand the world, and now it's like, okay, here's the actual story. We just needed some time to do something else, you know.
Well, I'm very excited to see this next phase. In terms of the movie, The Marvels, I mean, yeah, Blue Marvel hit. They all have the name Marvel as a
Yeah,
superhero, except for Monica Rambeau. She's like Spectrum. I think
yeah,
that's her.
Spectrum. I
Yeah,
think she was a Marvel at one point, but I don't know.
yeah, she was at one point. Again, that's unless you read comics, you wouldn't know that. That's super confusing to everybody. It's like the whole Billy Batson, Captain Marvel, Shazam. I had to explain that to the wife when we watched Black
Yeah,
Adam. She's like, "Wait a minute, why?" I thought he was Shazam. I'm like, "No, Billy Batson. The first movie, his name is Captain Marvel, but because of Marvel in real life, they sued them for the rights of the name because they had a Captain Marvel. So Marvel and DC couldn't both have a Captain Marvel. It would confuse people. So now he's Shazam, which doesn't make sense because that's the magic word he shouts. So if he says his own name, he reverts. Like that doesn't make sense. But that's a whole separate tangent. But yeah, having all these Marvels in one movie, I'm like, what are they even gonna do? That's a lot of characters you're gonna try to give equal screen time, even when it's supposed to be about the three women. I can't imagine they would give Adam Brashear like an equal amount of screen time just because he has Marvel in his name.
yeah, I'm sure that's not the case. It would be like Lawrence Fishburne and Ant-Man. Like he was what, Giant Man, or I forget the name of that character, but they just used him differently, you know,
Yeah, I'm thinking
and
more.
barely did.
I guess I'm thinking more of like Captain America: Civil War when Tom Holland Spider Man showed up for the first time. It's like, hey, he's here briefly, but he's not the focus of the movie. It's just to say, hey, we have this new character that we're going to show you later, but here's a little taste. I'd be okay with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Because obviously Spider Man deserved his own movie, and he got his own movie, and look how that worked out.
yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a small character you can just like have like in the background. This is someone who needs their own stuff.
Interesting.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I don't even know when the Marvels comes out because I know we're getting Ant-Man Quantumania, or is it Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, or is it Ant-Man Quantumania? These are long ass titles.
I think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum Mania.
Yeah, there's so much stuff.
Yeah, the Marvels comes out in July 28th next year.
Well, dope. And I'll just throw this last little tidbit. This is completely unrelated to what we've been talking about before, just in case anyone cares. I just pulled up an article that says Vladimir Putin falls downstairs and soils himself. You know they put that headline, that title on purpose. He slipped down several flights. He fell down several stairs at his official residence, and his bodyguards had to help him to the sofa.
How old is he? He's probably pretty old.
I don't know, but there's rumors going around that he has an illness. There's a
cancer or something.
Yeah, early stage Parkinson's disease and pancreatic cancer, which is sad in general. But when it's happening to Putin, who's literally going to war with Ukraine for his own selfish reasons,
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is, I don't want to say karma, but it's,
empathy.
I mean, but this might explain why he's being so gung-ho about going to war, because he probably knows his time is limited.
Trying to build like a legacy of some sort.
Doctors escorted Putin to the bathroom and cleaned him up. Ugh. Fell down some stairs and shit himself. That's embarrassing. Well, anyway, thank you, Brian, for joining me on another podcast on another week. I know you're extremely tired. We're recording this episode kind of late due to other things we have going on in our personal lives. But hey, thank you for making the time.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I probably a little low energy today, but I promise I'll have plenty to say.
Yeah,
next time we record.
And hopefully next week we won't have like a 45-minute segment on some negative stuff like Kanye. I don't really want the show to be that. I want to kind of keep it like somewhat positive and talk about fun stuff, video games and movies and whatnot. But
yeah, there's enough negative shit going on a daily basis.
Yeah, this one was just too juicy to pass up because it's kind of like the big thing. It was a big deal what he did. But hopefully we stop at that. Hopefully it won't escalate and we can move on to happier things.
Yeah. I'm always down for that.
Like, who do you think is going to win the Game Awards? God of War or Elden Ring? They're two very different games, so that's not really a fair comparison.
Yeah, I haven't played God of War yet, but it should be Elden Ring.
I just beat God of War yesterday. Fucking fantastic. I'm probably going to move on to Pokemon now.
Oh, nice. That buggy game. I almost bought it today, but I went to Target with my girlfriend, and I didn't want to buy a Pokemon game. I knew I'd be judged, so I'm just gonna have to do that stealth.
I just need something to play over the Christmas break, and I'm like, I don't plan on buying anything else. I mean, Darktide just came out, Warhammer, but that's on Game Pass, so I don't have to spend money on that.
Mm-hmm. I played a little bit of it. It's a little buggy right now, but it's pretty fun.
Okay, well, we should all get it in whenever you have time again.
Yeah, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, sounds good. But anyway, everyone, thank you for listening to the Humans Talking podcast. And you got any other notes you want to leave them off with, Brian? I always ask you that every episode.
You do. I got nothing. Just get some good sleep.
I'm gonna keep asking. You're gonna break out a book of like positive things to say and just leave the people on some nonsense.
Yeah.
Tie your shoe 1 foot at a time.
Drink lots of coffee.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about in the foreseeable future. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Later.